Welcome back to the channel. So it is definitely autumn now. October, can you believe? We're in October already, and new bobble hat. And yeah, it feels very autumnal on the plot now. I've got loads of clear out. I'm gonna head over in a bit and get some manure. I haven't got any for about 2 years now. And the place that I normally get it from, they've just got a private stables. It's perfect because they don't put nothing on, you know, in any of the fields. It's more privately run. It's not farm, you know, used for farm where they could use pesticides and whatnot. So I'm gonna go get some of that, but I will test it and I'll show you that maybe in this video or in the next video, where you just pop a few beans in or whatever, and if they germinate fine, they're okay. If they don't, then I'll talk about it in another video because I think it'd be easier if I, you know, we won't stress about that today. I want it to be a nice positive day. Yeah, and also I finally hit 10k. Thank you so much. If you haven't seen the last video, I had a few celebrations. Go having a look at that. I'll put it at the end of this video, and there's a few changes going to happen to the channel and lives. So stay tuned for that in the video, and I'll talk about it in a bit. And also, if anyone's seen my lives last year, or you might know this YouTuber, Christine at the Little Green Shed Allotment, she sent me the most beautiful socks to match my coat, my bobble hats, my boots. You know, I do love a mustard yellow, and she sent me these. So thank you so much, Christine. I'm hoping Christine will come back to YouTube soon. She had a bit of time off from it, but she's also got like an online shop as well. So I'll pop a link to it because I absolutely love these socks. I've got them on today and they're absolutely stunning. I'll pop it in the description. Go have a look, you know, support the little businesses. And Christine's a wonderful lady, and the socks, well, they're absolutely beautiful. So a perfect Christmas present for your gardening friends. Get them a nice pair of woolly socks for Christmas. And also, I didn't go to Malvern this year. I had just too much of a busy schedule, but that meant that I couldn't get any more garlic. I've got loads of garlic spare. I'll talk about that again in a bit as well, because there was a bit of an issue with some of the garlic that I saved. But thank God, you know, plot hole this year. Went to Malvern and got me some, and so I've got quite a lot of garlic now ready for planting in, you know, any time now really. You can start planting it from now. I normally do Halloween, but I'm going to do it a few weeks earlier this year. So yeah, there's loads to do, plenty to do on the plot today, and yeah, let's crack on. Right, that's the last one. So I got 13 sacks. Doug and Linda got 13 sacks as well. So yeah, we managed to lug 26 of these bags of manure, and it's really nice, well rotted, you know, it's a good year, 2 years old. And that's what you want. You don't want fresh manure for your allotment plot. And ideally, you know, you could rot this down for another year. So I'm probably going to put a bag or two on each bed and leave a few bags then near where I'm going to plant the garlic. And then once I've planted that garlic, give it a good top dressing on the top then for autumn. The rain will wash all the nutrients in, and perfect garlic next year. I tell you what, this allotment life, oh, it's so easy, you know, just pop a bit of compost on the top and you're good to go. No. Sweaty. We're gonna have a cup of coffee with Linda now, and I'll get back to you because I want to show you the garlic I've got, my plans. Oh, before we do that, let me show you the green manure. So it's doing pretty well. This bed, obviously I haven't been over here really, do you know what I mean? I need to clear these today. This now is doing really, really well. I mean, this clover now is really, really bulking up this bed, and hopefully then it'll, you know, put some nutrient back into the soil ready for next year. I also want to sort these beds out today as well, because obviously there's been a few pests, and I've got some purple sprouting broccoli over there ready to harvest next spring. Clear all this out. We've got a couple of squashes. I'm going to sort this out today, and I might even put some manure on some of these beds just to give it a good feed, because obviously these have been depleted over the last year, and it's good just to put some, you know, goodness back into the soil. Right, coffee, back to all the jobs. So, the garlic escapade. Well, I thought I was being clever and I put it in the greenhouse just to dry out a little bit more, and one of the panes slipped in the roof and started to fill up the tray with a bit of water. They're okay. I mean, they're doing okay, but if you can see, they're not looking their best because they've had a bit of this blackening on, because they've just been a little bit moldy really. But I'm still hopeful for the garlic cloves inside, but I didn't want to chance it just in case, because I love garlic and it's one of the main, you know, croppers in summer for me. So I bought some more. So like I mentioned, luckily, you know, plot holders were going to Malvern. They got me some garlic, my elephant garlic. Luckily I kept in the polytunnel, and it's all dried out perfect. They're all nice and crisp and clear, and I've got enough here now. I've saved just enough. I've got 2 to roast, and the rest then I've got to plant out. I want to do a huge bed of garlic this year, ready for summer, because family and friends now are getting a bit addicted to my garlic, especially the elephant garlic. Now, if you haven't seen, let me show you one of the cloves of this elephant garlic. Now, friends went to Malvern. Now let me show you the difference between a normal clove. So that's a normal clove of garlic, and this is an elephant garlic. Now look at the size, look at that beauty. It is absolutely huge, you know, compared to this. And yeah, they're just massive. You know, they grow to the end of this size, you know, big bulbs. And you normally get about, you know, 8 to 10 cloves in one of these, and they're just fantastic. Roasted, bit of olive oil in a parcel of foil, paprika, salt and pepper. They're just perfect. Add a bit of butter in then later on, and just squeeze them over some fresh bread. It's absolutely stunning. So yeah, so garlic sorted, thank God. I'm going to do a few varieties, and I'm going to do probably one of the long 3 foot by 14 foot beds, and have a good haul this year, and probably another bed somewhere else as well. So that's the plan on the garlic. But yeah, I'm still going to try these. I'm going to plant a few out, but I didn't want to risk it because they just don't look the best. I'm sure they'll be fine, but I didn't want to gamble. So one thing you need to be mindful of if you're collecting manure, I mean, you might see it sometimes at a local farm, ask them, because there is something called aminopyralid, which is a herbicide that they use to spray the fields, and then they harvest it all. Obviously, you know, animals eat it, and then the chemical stays in the manure, and then what happens is it's a herbicide, so it will destroy your crops or cause deformities. So that's the reason why I do this. This is a local stables, which they don't use any herbicides because it's just a little farmhouse and they've just got a few pet horses. This is perfect. You know, they don't use it. So if you're using it from farms or wherever you're sourcing it from, ask them if they're using herbicides in the fields, you know, where they're actually grazing, because that's the last thing you want in your allotment, your garden, is that herbicide. So yeah, make sure that it hasn't got aminopyralids inside it, because it's a nightmare. And if you're concerned that you have got some manure and you don't know whether or not it's got it or not, pop some in a tray, pop a bean in. The best thing to do is to pop a bean or a pea in, because they're quick growing. Take it home. If it germinates, chances are that you haven't got it, because you'll know straight away that that bean will either die or the plant will look really deformed. It doesn't guarantee it, but the chances are limited. So yeah, pop a bean or a pea into a little bit of the manure and hopefully it'll grow. You'll know then, because the last thing you want to do is spread it all over your raised beds, all over your garden, and then it starts putting herbicides all in your soil. It will be there for years. So please, please be mindful if you're using manure, and make sure you get it from, you know, a good source. So the varieties that I'm going to be trying from Malvern this year is Lautrec, which is one of my favourites. It's a lovely pinky tinge to the cloves. And I'm also doing a new one this year. I asked a plot holder, Tracy, to pick one, and she picked one called Thermodrome. So if you've grown that one before, let me know. There seems to be quite a lot of cloves on there. That's perfect. I'm also going to be doing the elephant garlic, which at Malvern, they were selling them for £3.50 a clove. One little clove. I mean, they're quite substantial, and once you've got them, then you know, the chances that you have to rebuy is limited, because you can keep one big bulb for the next year and carry on, unless you're a plonker like me and put them in the greenhouse and then they all go a bit manky. But yeah, we won't talk about that. And I'm also going to do a few others as well, but I'll talk about them in a later date once they arrive. So yeah, it's going to be garlic everywhere. Onions, I'm not doing onions over winter. I'm sticking to my guns so far. The only thing that's swaying me is that normally I put a few in quite close together, and they're usually the first spring onions that I pull out for the year. I don't use them as, you know, onions, I just use them as spring onions. So if I am handed a few small, you know, sets, I might put a few in, but I won't be growing them for onions. I am not doing overwintering onions. I have given up on that game. And also, people who do the Christmas potatoes, it's another one of those things that you think it'll work. They don't work. They're a con, unless you're lucky. But I think the you know, the juice isn't. But I just think the squeezing and worth the juice, you know, that you get. And yeah, Christmas potatoes seemed to work a few years ago. They've never worked for me. If they work for you, let me know in the comments below, you know, how you do it. That would be fantastic. And also, I've had comments saying that they actually have brilliant overwintering onions. I do get some, but I don't get a mass amount. I lose about 70% of the onions that I've planted in the ground. So if I'm doing something wrong, let me know in the comments. But I'm still not doing them this year. And in January, I'll start sowing my onions from seed. I'm going to do a few tutorial videos in the start of spring this year, because there's a few things that I grow that people are having problems with. Swede, I did one on Swede, which, you know, I'll pop a link to that in the description as well if you haven't, because I always have fantastic Swede. I've got a pile over there now ready for stews and casseroles in winter. They just work for me. I'm not saying it works for everyone, but they work for me here, so I can only show you how I do it. But yes, we're happy so far. And the Northern Light leeks as well, I was worried about rust on them. Not concerned about rust anymore, but I am concerned about a little bit of rust on the other leeks on the new plot, because yeah, they got orange tinges on it. So we'll see. I mean, that's a gamble of gardening, I guess. Right, let's get some jobs done. Here we are. So, you know, it'll be nice just to clear some beds, and it won't be long before it'll all be bare soil, and then it'll be ready for spring. So I'm thinking, we've got a sunflower here, a pile of sunflower seeds. Looks like a mouse or something's had a go on it, but they could grow next year. We'll see. Might have a pile of self-seeded sunflowers there. So the plan is I'm gonna give this a good rake over, and then fork in maybe 2 bags of manure, and then in spring then I'm going to cover it, and then in spring on top of the cardboard then I'm going to put some nice compost, and hopefully this will feed this bed and give it a good amount of food. Will I change my mind? Let's have a think. Or do I put green manure in here, because I still got the field beans to go in? And I'm thinking about putting them in modules, because a few viewers said that, you know, rodents might dig them up and whatnot in here before they grow. So what to do for the best? I'm definitely going to put some manure in anyway, because it's nice and well rotted, and dig it in. And yeah, they definitely need feeding now, because this hasn't been fed really. It's had a bit of compost on the top in spring, and it hasn't had a good feed. You know, this bed's been ate away at for the last 2 years, so it's time to give it a good feed, I think. And it's quite clay in these as well, so I want to try and dig it in, and that's the reason why I'm doing this. I want to dig the manure in and hopefully break up some of that clay as well, and then it'll give it good root structure next year, because I've got plans for these 3 beds. So yes, that's the plan for now. Tell you what, it doesn't take long for these beds to go to rack and ruin, and yeah, you've got to keep an eye on them. I mean, it's not one of those things where you can just do once and then blink an eye. I mean, I've picked up all the bamboo canes now from this area, placed them in the polytunnel as well, so they'll stay nice and dry over autumn and winter, ready for spring and summer. So keep them nice and dry, and they'll last you a few years. There we go. I mean, it's not bad soil. I just want to give it a little boost. Now, you haven't got to overdo it with the manure. I mean, 2 bags of nice and worms in there as well. This has been rotted down now for a good while. And yeah, it should. 2 bags should be plenty for that bed. Ooh. Here we go. And I'm going to dig it in this time just because I want to break up some of the clay. Autumn and winter are definitely the time where you'll do a lot of manual work and messy work, but it's definitely worth it in the long run. There we go. Right, so we've got a couple of mashed potato squashes. They're only small, but I shall give it a go. And you know what? I've loved this guttering on this side this year. It's turned into a little bit of a shelf. I've got a few mini butternuts, so they can go into a curry or something. And also a small chicky curry squash. I mean, they're all small things, but they all join up in the end into a nice pot. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I need to feed these beds, because they didn't produce as well. I know I put these plants in too late. I did put them in too late this year, and I keep saying I'm going to learn my lesson there, but do I? There's a big hornet inside the polytunnel, and it is buzzing away. I mean, it's huge. So at some point I want to try and get him out, but I don't want to annoy him and then he stings me. So, the big news. So a lot of people have been asking me, when are the lives coming back? They're looking forward to them in autumn. And the reality is, I absolutely love them, but I haven't got the time. I haven't got the time in the evenings. And plus I used to be scheduling 3 guests every single week. And it's a lot of effort, it's a lot of work. It really is a lot of work. More than people would understand. Orchestrating that. And it was like I had a rota. You know, I was rota coordinating to make sure everyone turned up and they knew the topic, and I had all their pictures in, all their videos in. It's a lot of work. And I've got important exams coming up. And I need to focus on that. I really do. So there won't be lives every week, but I will be doing some lives on my channel on a Thursday when I have time. It'll be every now and again. I will invite guests on, and you know, I will casually ask them how they're getting on in the garden, and we'll have topics and stuff. And dare I say, there'll probably be a Christmas special and all those things. So there will be lives on my channel, but it won't be every week. However, Tony C. Smith contacted me and asked me to go on Potty Mouth, and that's recorded on a Monday. So it means I can actually schedule that better. So I'll be on Potty Mouth every Monday evening, and I hope you come along and have a look, and I'll pop a link to Potty Mouth channel in the description. So if you want to come along, it's having a bit of a shake up with a guest this year, so yeah, I'll be on every week. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to seeing you all on there, and hopefully come over, you know, join the live chat as well, and I'll be live as well in the chat as well, so I can interact with you all as well. But yeah, things have had to change for this year, but like I said, I'll still be doing some lives, but I can't do them every week. And when I do them on my channel, it'll be 7 p.m. like usual on a Thursday. But for now, I'm part of the Potty Mouth crew. I tell you what, I think this bed here is going to need a good manure and feed, because this bed here has always been very low. I've never filled it up enough. I'm hoping this year to fill these raised beds up with a nice good amount of manure, and then in spring, like I mentioned, cardboarded it, and then put a nice amount of compost on the top, especially this one here, because this one has never had a good amount of food, and I've always, you know, got stuff out the bed, give it a bit of bloodfish and bone or chicken manure pellets and put things in it. So this one really is the most neglected bed on the 2 plots, so I need to give this one a bit of TLC. So I've also bought a pile of bulbs as well, a big huge sack of daffodils as well, so I want to put those on the plots as well to make sure that we've got a good amount for spring, because I put a pile in, but I want to put more in. I don't know if I'm going to get tulips yet. I'm going to pop to the garden centre. I might be tempted. Maybe I'll have a look online tonight and see about tulips. So if you've got any beautiful tulips, they just don't last. That's the problem. They never last as long. But yeah, I've got this huge big sack of daffodils by here. I mean, I think this was £10. It's called small cupped Barrett Browning. So I'm hoping that they'll put on a big show as well. So I'm going to start planting them. So if you haven't already, get yourself some daffodils, get yourself some tulips, crocuses, irises, and garlic, because they're the things that you need to be planting in very soon. So I'll be planting these in the next week or so, and also the garlic now, and then up to October, November is a good time to be planting garlic. And yeah, I also got a pile of other flowers as well that I bought from the garden centre, which I went with Linda and Cheryl last week. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put it at the end of this video, but let me show you what else I got. I bought some smaller daffodils. There's a mix of very small ones, and they're quite woodlandy looking, so I'm going to put them under the tree on the fig and olive plot. And I also bought another Happy Bee collection, another woodland mix, which is here, and I'll be planting that, and then it should flower March and June, so that should look quite nice as well. So yeah, I am buying more bulbs than I said I wasn't going to, but I am. But yeah, I think I'll regret it if I don't buy tulips. That's the problem. But they just don't come back. They're one of those things that you plant once and then maybe you get a second flower. The squirrels love them. They eat them all through autumn and winter. What do I do? Also, it's the annual rent collection for the allotment as well on my site. Is it yours as well? Let me know what area you are in the UK or wherever you are in the world, if you've got an allotment, and how much you pay rent and how much square footage you have. And I'll tell you mine now. So my rent, which is an absolute steal in South Wales, it's for the new plot, it's 168 square metres at 20 pence a square metre, and I pay £33.60 for the new plot. For the fig and olive plot is 142 square metres by 20 pence, and I pay £28.40 a year for the fig and olive plot. So yeah, altogether I pay £62 rent, and I also pay £12 membership every year, so it comes to £74 a year for 2 plots and my membership, which I think is an absolute steal for a hobby that I absolutely love, and it's cheaper than a gym membership. But yeah, let me know in the comments how much you pay a year. I know some people pay hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and some people pay less. So let me know in the comments how much you pay and what area you're in, and what you get as well, because we have things like it's gated, we have a shop, we have toilets, we have you know, functions as well, like barbecues every year. Let me know what you get for your plot, you know, with your rent as well. So yeah, let me know in the comments. And it also looks like Lee has built his new greenhouse. So it's an 8x6, and yeah, he's doing well on it, fair play. It's all built up now. Let's hope that it withstands the autumn and winter winds. I'm sure it will. But yeah, his plot now, my neighbour, start to clear everything off now. I need to start doing mine as well. I'm going to take these beans down today as well and try and mulch a few more beds and finish this one here. But yeah, there's still plenty to do. So if you are new here, because I've had quite an influx on new subscribers and viewers, so thanks so much. Welcome to everyone old and new, mature and new. And yeah, I hope you see all the projects that's coming up, because there's going to be a beautiful potting shed going to be built very soon. I'm not talking about it anymore, it's going to be done. And yeah, I've got an area at the back there. I want to put in a seating area, carrot beds, parsnip beds, quite tall ones. I want to build those this autumn and winter as well. I'm moving the pond. The pond's being moved. I'm going to have a bridge over it. It's going to be further down. That's another project that's coming up as well. They're all drawn up. I've been drawing up a lot of plans because there's things I weren't happy about. And the reason about the pond is it's not getting enough sun. So the water's not getting warm enough in spring and summer for it to have like frog spawn and things like that, because it's just staying too cold and shady. And I've not had frogs in there now for 2 years since it's been there. So I'm thinking if I move it down, I can have like lilies in there, it can be nice and warm. And hopefully I can do that now over the autumn and winter, and then by spring, it'll be lovely, hopefully. It'll all be bedded in. I'm going to use the water out of the pond as well. I'm going to actually move that into barrels and then build the pond and then put all the water in. All the wildlife's going to be, you know, kept safe, and also don't worry about it. All the stones, everything's going to be used from it. I'm just moving it further down the fig and olive plot, just basically just to warm it up, because it's more of a dead zone there. It's just not getting the sun and the life that it needs to in that pond. So it needs to be more than just a bird bath in, you know, in spring for the birds. So there's a plan for that as well. And also clear all these beds, get them all fed. I'm going to be ready for spring. I'm raring to go, and also going to build a few more beds on the new plot as well. Take down the old creepy shed, which is here. And yeah, plenty to do. Greenhouse, going to be putting all staging in there as well. That's going to be turning into a chilli and pepper sanctuary for next year. I'm going to grow all my chilies and peppers in there. Moving a watering system into there as well, harvest watering system. Mulching all those beds, changing some of the polytunnel as well. And yeah, and also putting grapevines in, new fruit area. I've got a plum tree that I want to put in as well. I've ordered it. I miss having plums. So yeah, there's plenty to do on the plot. I'm Danny, and this is Grow Up.